Peace, family. So yesterday, Stephen A. Smith called himself going off on Jasmine Crockett. You know, let me say this. One of the reasons why I created my organization, Citizens of the African Order, which is an LLC, it is to give my people a new direction, a new perspective, a new way of seeing things. And see, when situations like this, I don't want you to focus on the things that Stephen A. Smith say. I want you to focus more on what he don't say. This is what I do. You ignore all the things about Donald Trump. You don't say anything about this man talking about authorizing military full force on U.S. cities and states in Portland. You don't talk about how Donald Trump has ICE agents propelling out of helicopters, terrorizing the community, like this is some movie set. You don't say anything about how Donald Trump is standing in front of hundreds of admirals and generals, talking about how beautiful his signature is and how everybody loves him. Talking about how Barack Obama, how he bibbly bop, beep, deep, doo, deep, 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 down the stairs. You don't talk about none of that. What you want to talk about is Jasmine Crockett complaining about what Donald Trump is doing in California and Chicago when she has people she represents in Texas. You know, this is the person that somebody said that this guy's worth $100 million contract to talk politics. What value is Stephen A. Smith giving the people politically that's worthy of this type of money? When you look at his political rhetoric, the things that that draws his attention, how does it motivate and inspire and make your political decision even a little bit better? Add any clarity to it? It does not. This contract was meant only to benefit Stephen A. Smith and the people who gave him this money, period. Because, see, Stephen A. Smith is a person that you barely agree with what he said about sports. And now he's dwelling in the political commentary. And out of the blue, somebody get this man a $100 million contract. And then you switch from being a Democrat to not a independent. Now you're a Republican. What has Donald Trump done in his presidency that inspired you to make such a move? What competence has this man displayed? What confidence has he portrayed? What compassion? What consistency has this man displayed that opened your eyes, Stephen A. Smith, to say that now you're gonna get rid of the Democrats, you're gonna get rid of the independents, and you want to be a Republican. And now you're talking about you want to run for president of the United States. But you sitting up here questioning why Jasmine Crockett is complaining about what Donald Trump is doing in one part of the country when she represents her people in another. The fact of the matter is you can chew gum and walk at the same time. Well, most of us can. But people like you and Donald Trump, y'all can't do that. You focus on one thing at a time. And the situation is this. Donald Trump is president of the United States. He has federal powers over all the states. Why would Jasmine Crockett ignore the storm that's happening in California and Chicago and Portland? And while she shutters her doors in Texas and just pays it no attention? If a hurricane was coming to this country, tell me, how soon would you want to be notified of its presence? 200 miles out, 1,000 miles out. Oh, you want to wait till this thing is right at your doorstep. At that time, it's too late. Jasmine Crockett has to speak out now to alert the people of the severity of what's happening. And the closer this storm gets to Texas, the more severe it's likely to get. If Donald Trump is not stopped now and is allowed to go from California to Oregon to Illinois, implement National Guards in every community, this is going to embolden him and empower him to do more and more attention-grabbing things, so that when he do show up in Texas, what's going to be there to stop him? So, Stephen A. Smith, you are a complete sellout. You are a complete idiot. He said that when Roland Martin said that he didn't know what he was talking about, Stephen A. Smith come back and say, you know what though? I can be an expert at what comes out of my mouth. No, you cannot be an expert at what comes out your mouth, dumb mother effer. You can say whatever you want to say, but if it cannot stand scrutiny, when it is analyzed and criticized by others that's competent in this area, and they validate it, that's when you can consider yourself an expert. You just cannot step into politics, start spewing your rhetoric, and think that you're an expert on what you're saying. You know, and let me say this. Whoever was responsible for giving this man this contract to talk politics need to be a national boycott against it. Whatever, I don't know who it was, what they represent, what they sell, whatever, but whatever it is, this needs to be stopped. Ban their products, their programs, medicine. I don't care what is behind this. It needs to be stopped. We cannot have sports commentators coming on here, jumping in the politics, feeding people all this negative stuff, all this stupid stuff. And then you validate this man's opinion because he bragging about this $100 million contract, and people keep thinking that, well, he must know what he's talking about because he got a $100 million contract. Just like all these idiots that got hundreds of thousands of millions of followers on social media. You think these idiots are validated too because of their following. But look who the people who's following them. Idiots. Ain't no competent people following. Ain't no competent people listening to Stephen A. Smith. Ain't nobody competent taking what Stephen A. Smith say and quoting this guy. Nobody is doing that. Name me one politician, one person that's respected globally, that's taking what Stephen A. Smith is saying and quoting him. Nobody is doing that. You know, like I said, I'm in this video here. And as always, leave your thoughts in the comments. And I'll see you in my next video. Ashe.